Welcome to another edition of Down on the Farm by Fatback Videos. We've got us a redneck outfitted Troy-Bilt Horse tiller here. I've added a 9-horse Honda, which is a little overkill, but that's the redneck way. We've got a little problem. We've got a carburetor issue at some point, or it might have been tipped over, where gasoline's got in the crankcase of this motor. And I noticed it burning white smoke, burning oil, and oil coming out the exhaust. And so what's happening is when this thing's not running, because we didn't shut the gasoline off, well, preferably the carburetor float valve should stop that from happening, but looks like we need to either rebuild this carburetor or shut the valve off every time until we get one. But it's springtime and we've got plants to get in the ground, so we're just going to bypass this until we can get us a rebuilt carburetor for this. It's about $70, which is no big deal. If you've got a motor of any kind that's smoking like that, but otherwise it's running really good, you might want to smell the oil and see if it's got some gas in it. Even then, it may not be enough gas for you to smell, but if it gets thin enough, it'll blow by those rings and combust, and that may be your only problem. But do not run this thing, or any motor for that matter, with it smoking. That'll wash that engine out and it'll ruin it, and you don't want to run it at all. We ran it just enough to get it out of the truck and into here, but that's all you want to do. So we're going to go in here, we're going to drain this oil out. We're going to put fresh oil in it, clean the spark plug off, and make sure every time we shut this booger off that we turn the gas off. And that should get us through springtime, or maybe when there's a couple of days I don't have anything to do with it. We put new tines on it, which is a pretty complex deal if you're dyslexic. And those tines have to go on just right, but this is a good running little tiller here, and I really like this horse model. It's big, it's got lots of power. You can rebuild these things pretty easily, and it's really the top of the line tiller as far as I'm concerned. Are you going to text on that, or are you going to run my camera? Alright, first thing we're going to do is drain this oil out. Find you something throwaway in here that you can discard this oil. Don't use mama's pots. I got in trouble one time for doing that. And you need a 12mm wrench. We're going to drain this oil out. Yeah, I smell the gas in it. I'm going to let that drain out. Get every bit of it out you can, because whatever you leave in there will be in your next batch of oil. So we're going to let that drain for a little while. We'll be right back. Alright, she's pretty much drained out. If you want to, you can kind of tilt it a little bit and see if you can get a few more drops out of it. Lean it this way. You can see we're getting a little bit more out. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this bowl off this carburetor and see if this ethanol has corroded up this carburetor. If it has, we're going to try to temporarily freeze it up with some WD. I believe this thing holds at least a quart. We'll let that keep draining. Then we're going to take this bowl off. It's a 10mm. You take this middle bolt out. Take this little bolt out and don't lose it. This seems to be fairly clean. I found a little resistance in that float valve, but what happens is this float valve don't go back up all the way, or you may have a pinhole in it. And if that's the case, that gasoline's just going to keep pouring, and the only way it can go is through the intake manifold and into the engine. So this is the thing that that is our culprit. That's where our gas is coming from. Now on these Honda motors, they've got a drain and a filler cap on both sides of the motor. This side actually has a lot less in the way to be able to get your jug. This thing should hold a quart, quart and a half, but we're going to put about a quart in there and then we'll measure it. We're going to go ahead and fill her up. Now this particular motor has a low oil shutoff sensor on it, which is good. It'll actually shut the motor off. See if we got any on here. Yeah, looks to be perfect. Alright, next thing we're going to do, check our spark plug. We're over here on this side of the motor where our spark plug is. I think a gorilla put this in. This thing's really difficult to get to, as you can see. Alright, cameraman, zoom in on this. You can see the oil on this spark plug. It's not too bad. So we'll just take a little rag, clean it off, maybe give it a little dab of WD, and we'll put it back in. What we've done is we went ahead and removed this breather, so let me get my fat fingers in here. Now this time we're not going to put it on there like a gorilla, whoever did it last. There you go, just a quick little snug and that's it. Alright, we got the filter on, spark plug clean. Don't forget this Dumaflitchy, because it will not work without it, I promise. There's one more thing that I want to go over with you guys with this new gasoline. Most of your gas stations anymore has got this ethanol gas, and it will ruin a carburetor so fast. I've got this ethanol shield. It says here to mix 1 ounce per 3 gallons. There's about a gallon in there. So we're just going to put a dab in this just because we don't have any way of taking it out. And it's slap full of gas. So we can get the adult proof cap off. We're going to put a little bit, about 1/3 of an ounce. I don't think it'll hurt if you put a little bit more. And that'll really take that water and make that ethanol a lot better. Now, let me give you guys a warning. If you have a new motor that does this right here, what we're talking about, and you've been using ethanol, I'm going to give you a warning. Those shops that do the warranty work on it is going to drain that gasoline. And if it's got more than 10% water in it, it will void your warranty. I don't care if it's slap brand new. So use this ethanol shield. And if you haven't been using it and you're getting in a bind, you know, I drain that gas out and put some treated stuff in it so they can't burn you on the warranty, which you'll probably find out anyway by the corrosion. But please use this ethanol shield. Mix you up a can of it. If an ounce does 3 gallons, this thing is it looks like 4 ounces. So man, that does a couple cans right there. Clean everything up, clean up behind yourselves a little bit, and we'll be back and we'll try to start it. Alright, we wheeled it out of the barn, and we're going to fire it up and see if we did a good job. It was blowing a lot of white smoke earlier. Let's see how clear it is. Got the gas on, choke on a little bit. Looks like we've done a good job. Turn the fuel off just in case that carburetor is bad and it won't leak into our oil. I hope you use this video if you have the same problem, and thanks for tuning in to Down on the Farm by Fatback Videos. Thank you.